Hi everyone. Super happy to have Mr. Yagnesh with us today. He's working as a software associate engineer too and has an amazing journey from college to the tech world. He's here to share how he got started and what he has learned and how tech connects with business in real life. So let's welcome him. Hi sir.
Okay. Hello.
I'm super excited
Thank
to
you.
have you on this podcast.
Thank you so much. It's been great being here.
So let us explore how tech and business really meet.
Okay.
So I'll ask you questions in segment wise.
Okay.
Let's rewind a bit. In your final year of college, what strategies did you use to position yourself for roles in tech?
Okay. So moving back to college, I think that is most important when I was preparing for the tech jobs is mostly, when we join new companies and all, the most thing they look for is the data structures. So it's been a roller coaster ride, I would say, going through all the concepts from DSA to operating systems and networks. And yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot to explore in your final year. So it was exciting at that point in time. And I've been grinding everything again, looking back, and it's always different. It doesn't repeat like the casual exams where you have a fixed set of problems and you learn that. It's always new. Yeah. So, and it's always been with regular practice. Yeah.
Great. What was your first major break and what do you think made you stand out of during placements or interviews?
First major break, I would say. So coming to my case, I was having a offer from my internship itself, before my placements. So it was technically a bit relaxed, but yeah, I wanted to try for some other companies at that point in time. And yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, having that deviation from, a lot of gap between when I last did all this DSA and all, I had a little bit of confidence that I lost at some point in time. But I think the first major break, I would say, was definitely when I cracked first interview. Yeah, that was when I realized that I could actually do it again, from where I left it off, and yeah, that built a little bit of confidence back. And yeah, I appeared for a few other companies, and thankfully I got a few more offers down the lane.
Great. Now that you are an associate software engineer too, how do you see your work will impact the business side of things?
So, coming to the role, my role impacting the business, I would say like whenever you start working in the tech industry, like every point in time, I mean, whatever the smallest the bug that you fix to the working on refactoring your code or you develop a new feature, everything is definitely going to have a lot of impact on your business logic, because every feature that you're going to develop is for some reason that you have a dedicated set of customers who is going to use that. So I think
Mhm.
whatever the work that I have done so far, I don't think it has gone in vain, because we had a real set of customers who are actually using it, and that is definitely impacting the business of the company. Yeah, so I would say everything that you do is equally important in your future business perspective from a company's point of view.
Okay, now can you share a moment where a technical decision directly influenced a business outcome, maybe related to efficiency, cost, or user experience?
So everything again, whatever the topics that you mentioned, maybe in terms of user experience or the efficiency, as you mentioned, I think every minute technical decision that you take during whenever you develop a feature, maybe let's say I recently worked on a new feature, or basically it's a revamp of our dashboard page. So
Mhm.
it's we had this difficulty earlier where the customers were not able to access a few details because they had to navigate a lot. When you look at
Mhm.
from a user experience point of view, even let's say when you are doing 3 clicks earlier, now if you can reduce to get the details in 2 clicks, that definitely adds up to the user experience, because they might be hesitant to go through different pages. Even when we use some apps or something, you always have this, right? Why do I have to go back to every tab then search for something? Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
definitely going to have a lot of impact. So we recently I worked on recent thing also where we revamped our homepage, and the details were now easily accessible for the customers, and they were pretty much happy with the new changes that we brought in. And coming to the efficiency, so efficiency is something where we think about in the tech industry at every every point in line or every piece of code that you write. Also, you have to ensure that efficiency, because it might be a fractional thing when you work it at a smaller pieces, but when you deploy the code entirely into the production, it's going to be that small things that is going to impact your efficiency a lot. And especially when we start using the APIs and all, if you don't write a proper APIs which are like super efficient, it's almost like 1 second is considered to be a standard that we usually use. And if your APIs are crossing 1 minute, it's always a scope for increasing the efficiency.
So in today's world, how important is it for software engineers to understand their business goals?
So again, understanding the business goals and everything is always the first thing, I would say, in priority. When you design things, or when you start working as a software engineer, or be it anything, whether it's a product manager or you're working as a testing team, everything, it's you have to understand what your business is targeted towards, and what's the scope of it, and how many customers are there, because it's even not good even if you want to lose one customer because you don't have a certain set of features, or you do not have a proper support for that. So it's always important that whatever you develop as a software engineer, the first thing you have to think is what a customer is expecting out of it. It's always from the customer point of view, what is the requirement and how can you serve it better, or maybe you always wanted to exceed the expectations of the customer. So I think the end goal of the business is that's the first thing that you have to understand and then start working towards it.
Yeah, good. Business students, think of this next time you work with tech teams. Alignment is everything. Okay, now from your experience, what skills beyond coding have made a real difference in your career?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good thing, I think. Beyond coding, I would say when you work in the tech industry, or maybe it's not just in the tech industry, but since you asked most about the coding, I would say in the tech industry, the coding is only like 50% of it. The remaining major thing, I would say, from my perspective, I think there are two things. The first one, I would say documentation. It's very important that you document what you're doing and why you're doing, because we may not be at that position at every point in time. I might leave a company and someone else would be working on it. The same thing happened when someone worked previously on something and I joined the company. So it's something that makes a real difference, because you don't have to spend a lot of time understanding why this is written like this, why this has been done, what was there earlier, and what. And it's not like the usual projects that we usually do, wherein you start everything from scratch. When you move to a industry point of view, it's always going to be they have an existing product that they have in the market, and you start building upon that, right? So you should not break the existing things what were already there. So that's the reason I think documentation is very important. That helped me in my career, because even when I worked, let's say I've been working now for 2 years, what I did in day one might not be remembered as a human. I might forget, but it's always better I can refer back things if I have a proper documentation why this is going in this way and all. And the second thing I would say is communication again. It's not always going to be a single person who you're doing it. It's always going to be a team. And
Yeah.
only when you have a proper communication, communication just doesn't mean like speaking fluently in English, but it's also the way how you maintain that, proper communication and a rapport with your team and all. That's the key. That can really break things when you're working in a team if you don't do it in a proper way. Yeah, I think those are the two things that really helped me in my career over the past 2 years.
How do you collaborate with non-tech teams like product managers, marketers, or
Mhm.
analysts?
Okay, non-tech teams again. I would say when you start the development process itself, it's not that you have a set of team and then you work together and then have another team who is working on this task. It's always going to be a set of the entire people that work together. In terms of communication, you always have this, when you look at from the product manager's point of view. they decide, they meet regularly with the customers, understand what's the goal of the product, and then they put in the things to the dev team. And we also ensure that whenever we propose something, we make sure that is in line with what the customers are. So we have regular meetings with the product managers, understand what's the goals of the customer requirements, and make sure we are able to meet the requirements of the customer, and if possible, definitely exceed their expectations. And it's always going to be a continuous feedback mechanism where we regularly collaborate with the non-tech teams. Again, it's going to be a communication. You have regular meetings, we meet, brainstorm on our ideas, and then come to a common conclusion on what we are going to do and what's the product going to look like. So as I mentioned, it's always going to be a cross-functional. It's not just like you have a dedicated team. It's definitely cross-functional at every point in time.
Wonderful. So, okay, with the tools and technologies evolving so fast, how should future business leader stay tech away?
Okay, so yeah, the technology change is, very rapid. It's gonna be there today. It may not be there tomorrow. And keeping updated definitely is the first thing every developer or the software person outside there has to be always in line. And from my thing, I would say, working on, outside projects apart from your what you do at your job, that gives you a more opportunity to, explore new things, and you're not under this constant pressure of deadlines and, what do you say, the production issues and all these things won't come into the picture when you start doing your own personal projects, because it's something that you do from the scratch. So, and yeah, that's something that I usually do, which will help me to keep updated on what's going on out in the industry. And at the same time, always have to, or maybe from my perspective, I'm just saying, different people might have different opinions on this. You always start reading out the papers out there, because there are a lot of things that are coming up, and one day maybe you might end up, getting some mix of it, and you might get some idea out of it also. That's always possible. Understanding what's going on, maybe what can be done better, it gives you a whole different perspective. So I think that's the two things that I would focus on when I had to understand what's going out in the industry. One is going to be working on projects, maybe participating in hackathons also a few times, because there itself, there also you have a new set of problem, and you also get to know the different perspectives, how people are thinking about it on solving it. And yeah, the third one, as I mentioned, going through the newspaper, I mean, papers in the sense, the research papers and all these things. Yeah. So those are the some key things. Yeah. Again, different people might have different other things on how they keep themselves aware.
Mm. What's your take on the role of the AI in shaping how business operate today and tomorrow?
AI. So this again, I would say is a double-edged sword. But for a few things, I would say, if you can utilize it in a better way on the AI, that can definitely increase your productivity at your workplace. Because most of the times we have some repetitive tasks that, as manually, we have to do it. So if you can replace those parts with the AI, yeah, I think that's going to be, helping out a lot in increasing the productivity, because you don't have to spend a lot of time on those features. So recently, when I was working on my project, also we had a few things that we wanted new suggestions to, get through, and we made use of AI, and we really got some good suggestions. And then we started intervening manually with the ideas that we got a few of them, and then we proposed a better idea at the end. When we had discussions alone, that was not so optimal, but not so bad again. But yeah,
Mm.
that's how some manual tasks can be automated so that you don't have to spend a lot of time. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Time for a quick rapid fire round. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
One tech tool every business student should explore.
That's, I would say, because that helps the business students to, plan their revenues and all, understanding how the SaaS works. Yeah, I would say SaaS.
Okay. MBA or upskilling tech.
Uh, MBA or upskilling in tech, I would say MBA at some point in time. Again, both are very important. but you might end up in some saturation at some point. Again, it's there is a lot to explore, but doing an MBA at some point of time will give you a different perspective. So I would say MBA.
Okay, dream company to collaborate with.
Google.
Interesting. Favorite productivity hack.
Favorite productivity hack, I think the time management. Definitely, you have to make sure you plan your things properly so that you don't get wrapped up. I mean, hectic at the end.
Great. What's more valuable, speed or precision?
Speed definitely. Because in today's business world, everything is too fast. So yeah, speed is very important, but precision should not be compromised.
We have reached the end of the meeting. Anything you would like to say, sir?
One thing that I would like to mention to all the audience is irrespective of which field they are going to work on, I would say keep themselves updated always so that they don't fall back in the way that world has been changing today every now and then. It may be there today, but may not be there tomorrow. So just keep yourself updated. Yeah, that's the one thing that I would like to share with everyone.
Truly appreciate you taking the time, sir. This conversation has been both insightful and energizing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was pleasure talking to you guys, and thank you so much for having me here. And yeah, I hope everyone would excel in their fields, whatever they wanted to pursue. And yeah, thank you so much, and have a great day.